Welcome to the summer edition of the Sprint to Success with Design Thinking podcast.
How do you navigate change? It's a question we think about often, and one that today's world expects us to be comfortable with. The challenge, however, is where do you begin, and how do you develop the mindset and skill set to be successful? Welcome, everyone, to the Sprint to Success with Design Thinking podcast. I'm your host, Saba Kidwai. Join me each week as I share the stories and strategies from the world's leading researchers and practitioners about why they believe the answer lies in practicing design thinking.
I've seen so much in 2020 that I don't even know where to go with this, because I'm so excited for the possibilities of voices that maybe didn't get the shot that they could have or should have or would have in a different world, that are now being heard, are now have the potential to be heard. It really requires an internet connection, access to internet. And I think from there, you can really, like, that's the thing, is like the world we grew up in. It's like, I needed to go to these schools in order to get in these rooms to have the opportunity to be, in quotes, successful. And now it's like, okay, well, if I'm strategic with my tweets or I leave smart comments on LinkedIn, a room that I could never walk into, like, I might have that opportunity, or I can actually engage in those conversations. And you brought up Clubhouse, and this is where it's like, yes, you should be listening and educating yourself, but most people are consumers and not actually putting out their opinion. There's a loud minority, really, but most people aren't actually creating. And definitely in a Clubhouse, if you do have iOS and you happen to be able to get access to it, there are famous people alongside people who are just getting started in their careers, and they're able to be called onto these stages. And actually, I've been in rooms where people have gotten money, like from investors and all sorts of different things, like from Shark Tank investors actually listening to pitches from like high school students or from college students. And it really kind of just like levels the playing field entirely, because if you volunteer, because you can volunteer to raise your hand and pitch these people, and some rooms are busier than others. But if you kind of just keep putting yourself out there and keep volunteering and maybe just ask a question, it leads to a conversation, which then, if that conversation is interesting, you follow them or they follow you back, then you can DM them and just say like, hey, I took this, like I was listening to you in Clubhouse. I thought that was really great. I learned a lot. I'm a student, whatever it might be. And then you start building this relationship. And it's like somebody that you would just never have access to. It's hard for people who have access to people to have access to these people. And if there's just certain people that you want to meet, they're available. You just need to do a little bit of legwork and know, are they doing Clubhouse? Are they on LinkedIn? Like, where are they kind of living? And be curious. I think that's a big thing too, especially for people who want to get in front of certain people. It's about being curious and not about pitching yourself. It's about wanting to know more about them and thinking about them in order to do that. But I think exactly what you said is right. Like it really, like, people don't care about, I don't care, like, in terms of the hiring, it's like, I don't care who you work for. I don't care what school you went to. It doesn't matter. It's about, like, can you articulate yourself? Can you do whatever you have those skill sets? And so I think I think we're going to see that a lot with Clubhouse, where people who maybe they're not classic marketers, or maybe they don't know marketing, but they know how to answer the question, or they show up and they're going to get in front of people who can change their lives. And that's just through content and having, your contact information. You need your contact information in the profile, which means you need some sort of brand positioning at least.
It's your turn to join the conversation by sharing what you enjoyed or what questions you still have. In a world where time and attention are so valuable, thank you for choosing to listen and for being a part of our Sprint to Success with Design Thinking community.